The state of the naira, the shortage of foreign exchange, these are conversations that have gone on for some time now as we look for ways to improve the Nigerian economy. We've witnessed the massive fall of the naira in the market and the limited supply of forex also. In a major policy initiative aimed at market correction and to boost FX supply, the Central Bank of Nigeria mandated deposit money banks to ensure that the net open position limit of their overall foreign currency assets and liabilities on and off balance sheet did not exceed 20% short or 0% long of shareholders' funds unimpaired by losses using the gross aggregate method. Joining us on the show to discuss CBN's latest measures to boost FX supply and mitigate foreign currency speculation is Dr. Ifediora Ameobi, a Nigerian economist. Good morning, Dr. Ameobi, and welcome to the morning show.
Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Ruben.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Ameobi. Well, the central bank gave a directive that deposit money banks should offload excess dollar stocks in their possession with effect latest February 1. And I guess, compliance with that has resulted in a situation whereby we are told, the naira has appreciated even if it didn't do so at the NAFES window. So what next? Would that solve the problem?
Well, thank you very much. Well, it's actually a good step in a good direction. Whether it will solve the problem in the long term will be left to be seen. I guess basically the celebration that we're experiencing today has actually been long in coming, because this is the first time this is actually happening, the first time the official rate, the I&E window rate, has actually exceeded the parallel market rate. If we take one step backwards and just trying to find out how we got to this position, we'll find that over the past years, the central bank had accumulated foreign exchange payment obligations to various parties, whether it's the airlines, the embassies, the oil majors, different components of the economy that they were supposed to have settled over time. And their inability to do that up until now had shifted a lot of the demanders for foreign exchange from the central bank or from the official environment into the parallel market, which had actually been the reason why the parallel market had been the driver all these years. And in the past, I have talked about the tail wagging the dog. Now the central bank is now grabbing the bull by the horn and now becoming the dog that will now wag the tail, and has instituted this policy to ensure that the foreign exchange is now fully under its control. So what has happened now is that with its attempt to fulfill some of those monetary obligations, like paying the airlines, I think about 67 billion US dollars, in as much as the airlines still claim that they still owed another $700 million, sorry, not billion, but $1 million. It's actually the right move. It's a good move. So whether it's up to the central bank to now ensure that more of this is done, more of the dollars that will be made available to it going forward is used to take care of past financial obligations, as well as create an open market for forex demand, and try and bring a lot of those people and companies and groups that were going to the parallel market back to the official market. Now, we've seen a bit of that happen. We've seen the naira, whether we'd like to use the word strengthen or at least, stem that free fall for at least a short time for now, based on this particular policy. Now, even the fact that the central bank has actually gone after commercial banks with the policy to now have them sell the excess, estimated $5 billion US dollars they have in domiciliary accounts, which apparently they have been using for speculative means and trading and round tripping, etc. To now sell off those, that will also help boost the economy and give us a more better short to medium term tamed foreign exchange regime going forward.
All right, Dr. Ameobi, thank you. I hear you. You use the words, take the bulls by the horn. You talk about the fact that this is a welcome development, and I don't think we're in any doubt of that. However, the conversation is that it's not enough. And the CBN is actually not tackling the real root cause of the problem. And if they will take the bull by the horn, then it won't just be to target the deposit money banks. They would go to tackling the issue of a dollarized economy. What's your take on this? And how should, what further measures beyond this? I mean, we gained 13.3% between yesterday and today. However, it's speculated as well. It's being said that it's just in a temporary reprieve. In the long term, at least short, medium to long term, what can they do? Or what should they be doing beyond these policies that are just, tackling the lower rung of the problem, but not dealing with the root cause of the issue?
Well, I mean, the good thing about it is that they've actually started doing something. And for the first time in a long time, we haven't seen the CBN take charge of the foreign exchange market. This is not a one-off policy. This is actually, the start of something that I actually want to believe would be a continuous process of, sanitizing the foreign exchange market. And so, yes, they haven't done enough yet. But if they sustain this momentum and probably come up with more circulars and more guidelines and try to take more control, I believe that they will be able to do more than just going after deposit money banks. One of the policy guidelines, one of the policies that they have actually introduced, I said yesterday or 2 days ago, was the NOP, where they had charged that banks have a short-term cap of 20% of foreign exchange assets and liabilities, which they can operate with. Anything more than that, will now be, well, not necessarily a violation of that guideline, but will have to be addressed, further. What that means in a sense is that banks can no longer, buy and sell foreign exchange or hoard foreign exchange or use it, for their own purpose to boost their own bottom line like they were doing before. Because people have always wondered, how can an economy that is or has been on a decline over the past number of months and years, yet the banking sector or the banks are always declaring, billion naira profits year in, year out. And so this will actually help check that and move a lot of those funds. As a matter of fact, I think the banks, with that excess foreign exchange that they have, and the deadline, which I think was yesterday, February 1st, that the central bank gave them, they will have to start selling those foreign exchanges back to the airlines to bridge that gap and cover up that $700 million that the airlines claimed are still owed them. And I know there are so many other corporate bodies and institutions and foreign organizations that are part of this backlog. And so if $5 billion can move in there, that will actually go a long way in doing more of what the central bank had planned to do, before now. Which also, brings to question, about 2 or 3 months ago, just before Christmas, the NNPC got a $3 billion loan to stabilize the naira. where we have 5 billion in the, within the commercial banks, in domiciliary accounts, sitting idle and being used for speculative, means. So there seems to be, some type of, mismatch here.
Dr.
You have this fund sitting and you're still going out to borrow. So all of these corrections were necessary. And if the central bank, like I said, can sustain this momentum, I think we will see a brighter economy, hopefully by the end of the year.
Okay,
but it's not going to be a short-term remedy.
Dr. Ameobi, we have an interesting scenario here, but let's see for how long it would, how it will work out in the long run. The banks are being blamed for hoarding Forex. Well, obviously, it's not just Forex that the banks hoard. They hoard the Naira too. Ordinary people who go to the banks can't even get enough cash. And the banks, in turn, blame the CBN. So there's a blame game, both sides, pointing to a certain confusion that we may well unravel in due course. But there was another policy which the CBN introduced, this swift repatriation of export proceeds into domiciliary accounts. And the new conditions that have been given for international monetary transfer services, a deposit of $1 million, a non-refundable application fee of $10 million, and then all kinds of paperwork, bureaucracy, and then stiff penalties about how any exporter who violates any of the guidelines will be thrown out of the forex market, any segment of it at all, which that exporter wants to access. Is this a way to encourage exports, or just CBN trying to assert control and get more access to Forex? And how is it likely to affect trade? Because that should be the bigger concern.
Yes. Your question is actually very, very valid. One thing I'll be very, very careful about from the CBN is the fear of cutting your nose to spite your face. CBN is trying to do a lot, which is good. But CBN also has to be careful that they don't, in the process, discourage our most needed exports or exporters, as well as investors outside Nigeria who want to come in and invest and do business here. Most times, the reason why we have incentives, as we call them, is to be able to give a bit of concession to a lot of these requirements. The documentation is okay because we also have to ensure that what's going in and what's coming out of Nigeria follows the legal process and avoid issues like money laundering, etc. But on the other hand, we should be able to be a little bit more lenient when it comes to achieving our long-term objective. And so, yes, as much as the CBN has come up with this guideline, and it's going to also help, and bring in more foreign exchange, but they have to do it, play a bit cautious so that they don't, outrightly discourage either those who had originally intended to, bring their funds into the country and so on.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Ifediora Ameobi, for speaking with us today. Indeed, we continue to watch and bring reports, and hopefully these reforms will yield the much desired result.